Hey everybody, this is She Never Misses, and as you can see, I have a very different type of video for you guys today. I'm in Minecraft for starters, which is a place you've never actually seen me on this channel. And not only am I in Minecraft, but I'm also on a heavily modded world, the main mod of course being Pixelmon, which I'm sure you could tell both by the title and by the Pokemon statues in my bedroom here, as well as my Chikorita on the sidebar if you can see it under my minimap. Anyways, I'm here today to tell you guys about a project that I've been working on my own time for quite a while at this point. I've been working on this world on and off since August of 2016, pretty much a year and a half, and after a lot of time and work, as well as a good amount of issues that I'll go into later, I've decided to share it with you guys. The world is basically being made to be a sort of adventure map, which encapsulates an entire Pokemon region, with quests, some large builds, gyms, contests, and an overarching story. It's a lot, I'm aware. That's probably part of the reason why it isn't done after so long, but that's beside the point. Since I have never done a Pixelmon video on my channel before, much less told most people about this project I've been working on, I'm going to just start off with a little bit of background about it, and then we'll get started on the world tour as it stands right now. I have really liked Pokemon for almost my entire life. First the anime when I was really young, and then the games, so the franchise holds a really important place in my heart. You'll be able to see that from some of the older videos on my channel if you want to watch them, even though they're kind of horrible for the most part. That's beside the point. I also really like to play video games, especially ones where I can build things, so after playing Minecraft for a while and dabbling in a few mods a couple years ago, I discovered the Pixelmon mod, which was so unbelievably exciting to me. You have no idea. I started to watch videos about it from YouTubers like Eton and Sushix, and I downloaded the launcher from the old Pixelmon website and started playing it for myself, mostly in single player. Over time, with playing Pixelmon and Minecraft more often, my building skills were improving, and I was investing more and more time into watching videos about the Pixelmon mod, as well as interacting with the communities of those YouTubers I mentioned earlier. One thing that I noticed was that most of the Pixelmon videos that I watched were primarily survival based, which was fun to watch of course, but those didn't really have much of a story to them, and that's just something that I enjoy. Sometimes I would see some roleplays like the ones Pixel Dip sometimes puts up, or I would see people play adventure maps for Pixelmon, but a lot of the time those maps were pretty small and weren't finished, and me as a person, I'm a storyteller. I love stories, and I saw so much potential with the Pixelmon mod to create like an entire region, one that would be fun to play and have a complete overarching story of some kind. So in my own time, I set to work on this project, and a good portion of the rest of the time, I was still engaging with the online Pixelmon community. At one point, relatively early in the process of making this world, I managed to use some pictures of it to get a spot as a builder for Eton's old Flarocity server. I'd spoken to him a few times before about working on some other projects of his, mainly the short-lived Pixelmon Island roleplay, but this server was the biggest and longest-running project of his that I was a part of, and it gave me a lot of good experience. Most of what I was doing on that server was building gyms and testing world. None of mine got used, but that's not really important. Through the experience, I got to use World Edit a lot more, which made me more confident with it and allowed me to then put it onto this world to use for some of the bigger builds that would have been completely impossible to do without. Some of the basic things you should know about this world before I go on are that it runs on Minecraft 1.10.2, and all the mods I have used in it are Pixelmon 5.1.2, Bibliocraft, Zero's Minimap, Custom NPCs, Mr. Crayfish's Furniture, DecoCraft, Optifine, Pam's Harvest Craft, Wearable Backpacks mod. This one is new since a lot of the backpack mods have given me issues with this world, but this one seems to be working for now, so we'll see if it stays. And World Edit, of course. The world is inspired by both the games and the anime, and when it's done, it'll have 8 gyms, 6 contest arenas at least, some towns with gyms, some without, an evil organization. Right now, it's a branch of Team Rocket. I'm pretty sure it's going to stay that, but we'll see. A Safari Zone, an unofficial gym, 2 Pokemon Research Labs, and a Pokemon League. Now, with all that stuff out of the way, let's get started with the region tour. I hope you guys like it. Hey guys, welcome to the region tour part of the video, and for this part of the video, I am going to be talking over some footage of myself walking around some of the towns and structures that I've created for this world thus far. Right now we are in Old Frost Town, which is one of the only towns that I have actually been able to name at this point. And this is the town where you would start. Now, right now, we are about to walk into the house that I would think would be the player's house if I were playing it. Those are my parents. Don't have skins yet. Don't worry about it. So this is my room. It's sort of inspired by a grass type look because that's the type that I always pick when I'm going to start, but the other houses have sort of different themes, so we'll get into that in just a minute. That was a quick look at the house where I would start if I were a person about to play this map, I guess. Now we're going to another house over here, and this is where Isadora, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce her name yet, would live, and she's kind of like the Kurt of the area. She makes some interesting Pokeballs, and back here behind her house is the greenhouse where she grows all of the apricorns to make the Pokeballs with. Alright, so now we are going to the igloo, which is where I imagine the water starter person would live. So I was thinking of having there be different map versions for different starter types. So you would start there if you were a water type person, and then if you weren't, there'd be an NPC there. This is the fire estate, basically, and the person who would be living here would, well, there'd be a few kids here. There'd be the fire starter holder of this town, and then there would also be someone who came before. Their brother would also, have a bed here. Obviously, this is their room. And my idea for the foundation of this town was kind of that it was like a place in the Arctic almost, that the ancestors of these people had sort of discovered, and I believe that his name was Ignatius Scorch. He founded this place, and then just kind of liked it here, so he decided to build that big mansion over there. And a few more people have moved in since then, being the family of the grass type starters who just want to live here. Isadora with her Pokeball manufacturing and all of that stuff. And then, of course, there's the research lab, which we'll get to in a few minutes. This is the town battle arena, and it's supposed to look kind of old, like the founder or someone around that time had made it. I really like it. It's one of my favorite parts of this area. And this place is really small. It's a nice place, but not a lot of people show up to it. So there's not many people around, which is pretty common for, the first town in a region. As you can see, the NPCs that were the water person's parents have disappeared. That's been kind of an issue that I've been having, is with NPCs disappearing. But anyway, I also noticed that there was really no towns that I can remember where you start that are in an icy area, and I really like snow, so I thought that might be something interesting to do. Now, over here is the Pokemon lab where your, resident professor lives, and her name is Professor B. Magnolia, maybe Beatrice, maybe just B, but it kind of goes after a butterfly magnolia tree, which is which is a type of tree that I have in my yard and I think is really pretty. So I decided that I would go with that. Up here is the actual place where she would be standing, back behind that table. And this place, I'm just going to let you watch as we keep exploring it. This place is sort of supposed to be like, this area is so far up north in an icy area and just so far away that a lot of people who did try and come here ended up getting lost in the snow in blizzards in the past and were frozen and never seen again. So something that ended up happening was that people who wanted to do science out here ended up building this lighthouse, not, near the water to guide ships away from rocks, but more to be like a beacon to guide travelers to it so that they would not freeze. And I think that when this is full of NPCs, it was at one point, but they've all disappeared. There's supposed to be someone in the corner of the sitting area over there who would, be talking about that. And there's also signs out front. This is the Old Frost train station, which is where you would be leaving from to go to the next town. So let's follow the tracks for a minute and we will end up getting there. I also realized how to turn off the waypoints so that you can't see them in the footage at this point. So thank me for that. Anyway, we cross that bridge and we go up this hill. It's a long way. I'll warn you. That's why I put mine tracks here. And then you are in the next town. And I don't have a name for this town yet, but it is like the second town in a region, and in every game I've played, the second town in a region has a Pokemart and a Pokemon Center, but doesn't have a gym in it. So I decided to keep going with that tradition, but put it in the biome of the place where the next gym will be to sort of make it more consistent. And there are some things here, like there's going to be an interesting character who lives down there that I think that you will meet when you're here. And there's also this shop over here, which we're going to go into in a second, which is a like hiking shop. There were item frames with some running shoes and some like different types of Pokeballs up there before, but they have all disappeared. I've also had an issue with item frames disappearing. So if you have any information about why that could possibly be happening, let me know. This is where the guy who would run the shop would live, because I'm also making an effort to give most people beds in this region, because that's been a thing that's been like a joke in the Pokemon series for quite a while, that nobody has any beds. Like your mom doesn't have a bed, and a lot of people just don't have a place to sleep. So I was like, okay, I'll make sure that happens. The people who would run the train also have some rooms, but I didn't really show them to you in this. The one for this town is up on the hill over there. It's actually pretty interesting. So another thing about here is that the backpacks that I have tried to use, all of them have been really, really difficult. Like all of the backpack mods that I have tried have given me problems, and I found this one recently, so I think that it'll work. It seems to be working thus far, but I might switch it again at some point. I don't know. So this is one of the houses down here. I feel like you're going to meet another character around your age here. I think that your rival might actually live in this town instead of in your hometown, which will be kind of interesting. I do have a plot line in mind for them right now. So that's like me pointing to the house that's in the hillside for the train station manager. I also was thinking about how your living arrangements would be working while you were traveling. Right now I'm showing you the Pokemart. I tried to theme the Pokemarts and the Pokecenters off of where you're at, so you can... The Pokemarts and the Pokecenters don't look the best, I'll be honest, but like I tried with them, and they're also more generic structures anyway. This is the battle area, and as I was saying, in this sort of region, there will be some places where you have to camp out, some places where Poke Centers will have rooms for you, like they seem to in the anime, and there's also going to be places that just have, like, hotels or hostels that you can stay at. So this is one of the places where you would have to camp if you're going to stay overnight here. There's also a little barbecue area over there. And we're going to go up to the Poke Center now, which is obviously way too small to have some spots for you to sleep. Now, for this Poke Center, as you can see, I kind of tried to make them all blend into their surroundings a little bit. Like this one and the Pokemart down there, they all have some spruce logs incorporated into the design to sort of make them fit wherever they're going. Now, we are leaving town and we are going down the path to the next place. And I will see you there in just a minute. Now, as we approach the next town, I don't have a name for most of these places, so any name suggestions would be great. You can see that we have a smoothie stand here, which has a big line. A lot of people are really interested in this smoothie stand. But I did have some item frames with items in them that were sort of marking off stuff that was there and prices, and it just did not stick around. There's also supposed to be an NPC there who has disappeared, but you definitely want to talk to the smoothie girl while you're here. I can promise you that she's very fun. Now, this is the, beginning of town, and I really like the little Kingdra fountain that I put here, and this is one of the ones where there's going to be a hotel where you could possibly stay at, run by Lucinda over here. I'm not sure if I want to have people's names above their heads or not. You can tell me what you think about that. Here's the current list of people who are here right now and staying there. And Lucinda has a nice house all to herself with a view of the river behind her, as well as a space for her to occupy up here. Very purple, very nice. I enjoy it quite a lot. Good job, Lucinda. Now, over here are some of the other places. Up here is where I imagine that the player would be staying, and I feel like since I'm planning on possibly having different maps for different starter types, I might theme this house differently in the other ones for the different types. I know that not everybody's favorite type is the type that they always pick as their starter, and some people don't always pick the same type as their starter. But I always have, and I kind of just thought it would be an interesting little bit of personalization. Like right now, it's got some green stuff inside, and it has a garden. And I don't know, I could maybe put a fire pit, some more red stuff out there if I were to do it for a fire starter, or I don't know, some more blue things, maybe a bigger pond for a water starter. This is also one of the first towns that I built over a year ago now, so my skills have improved a little bit, but I'm really happy with this Poke Center. It's supposed to also have another NPC doctor there, but they've disappeared. Don't worry about it. And in this room is a bunch of computers, which are supposed to be kind of like the computer phones in the anime that would let you talk to your mom or your professor or something. I thought that those were kind of an important part based on what I had seen, and that they would be interesting to have. So up here, there are some people, and there's some beds up here, but as you can see, there's one person for every bed, so there's no room up here. I originally built this by using the Pokebox texture pack, so there were different villager textures. I'm probably going to get rid of that guy at some point. Now, one of the things about this town, this is where the first gym would be, and some of the houses belong to people who work for the gym leader's father. The gym leader's father is a logger, and there's a logging camp out behind the gym area, and that is going to be a big part of the storyline in this area, because supposedly no one's seen the father in a while, and our gym leader friend is getting a little bit worried about that, let's say. So, it's also a bigger town, considering there's a gym in it. So there's more people living here, and there is also a bigger Pokemart and Pokemon Center, of course. I didn't show you the Pokemart in this one because it was like glitching out on me while I was in there, and I broke some stuff, and I didn't want to show it to you. So, here's just one of the other town houses where some people live, and we're just going to keep on heading through, checking things out. Here's another little house that's sort of off the edge of a hill. And now, this house I'm excited about, but I'm not going to show it to you because it's probably going to be relevant to the story, so there's that. Here is the first gym. It's going to be a normal type gym, which is really against tradition, but I think that in this one, the NPCs are going to say that you can take on the gyms at any point, really, even though there's going to be an obvious order. But, like, supposedly, if you did them in a different order, they would have different levels of Pokemon. But this is just the one that you happened to be closest to, so that's the one you're going to start with. Here is the logging camp, like, base area. We got this guy over here, who is a friend of the father of the gym leader, who works here. We got some storage areas, which are, you know, important if you're running a business. We got some log piles. We also have some railing, which goes to the logging camp back here. Here's the log house, like where everyone who's hanging out here will come for their breaks and get some food, all that sort of stuff. And then here is the return back. I'm sorry that it's dark at the moment, but, you know, can't show you too much of the logging area right now. It is all rail connected and everything. There were supposed to be some NPCs down here at the loading dock, but they've also disappeared, so I'll have to put them back at some point. There's just some people loading some stuff onto this truck right now. And that will ship things to the rest of the region. Here's the front of the truck. I'm pretty happy with how it looks. I got the mirrors on there so you can see my skin, which is just, I'll tell you about it later, but I don't know. And then it's got a license plate over here that's kind of funny, just, you know, because they're loggers, but, you know. And then you follow this road to the next area. I haven't finished this road yet, but I do have the next few areas, so I'm going to show those to you now. Right over here, we have a Pokemon school, and I think that a few people from the school will be on a field trip to the gym when you get there, the last gym back there. So it's going to be kind of like a natural lead up to going to this place, which is pretty cool, I think. Over here we have the entrance. There's like a mail area. There were some item frames, but they got missing. And here's the kitchen. This is like a boarding school. They've had these in both the games and the anime before, and I just kind of thought that it would be cool to have one. So, you know, here it is. They've got an outside, like, eating area for when it's nice. Here's the kids' rooms over here. Some weird bunk beds that I tried to accomplish. You know, some chests for them to put their stuff in, etc. There's also a balcony out here, which is pretty nice. You can see the edge of the jungle and the swamp. And the jungle is going to be somewhere where you go into much later, but it kind of touches here, and I couldn't really avoid it. And it's also kind of nice looking, so it's there. Since it's a school, of course, we also have some classrooms, which are very nice, you know, have some seats and some stuff in them. And the staircase under the stairs I enjoy. Got a bell, of course, even though it's supposed to be a fire bell. You know. And then onwards, we go to the next area, and there is a police station over here. It's going to be relevant because of what happens in the last town, so definitely don't skip it. I also am really happy with how that looks. I think that the stone buttons around the rims really did something for it. I don't know. I just really like that build. So onwards we go to the next place, and this is going to be where the bug gym is. So as you can see from here, the Pokemart and the Poke Center are different. That's the gym back there, and of course there's some houses. Now, the bug gym is supposed to look like a butterfly net that's like been slammed down to catch a butterfly. So, the Pokemart and the Poke Center both kind of wanted to look like the gym, so they have glass domes on top, which are the colors that they're supposed to be, red for the Poke Centers and blue for the Pokemarts. And they also have some birch wood, which is, grows around here somewhat. And I think it blends a little better into the area. Here's some shopkeepers, and there's also going to be some stuff in these containers. Yeah, so they didn't disappear for some reason, but a lot of the other NPCs, especially the shopkeepers, have been disappearing. Over here is the Poke Center. There's not really room for you to live here, but they are big enough to have a computer, video phone type thing, and a little, counter where you can eat your breakfast if you want. So they're not quite big enough to have you stay there, but they're big enough to have some extra stuff. Now, up here, of course, is the gym, which I'm pretty proud of. It looks like a big butterfly net, and you can see a little bit of the battle area down there. There's going to be a room at, the end of the hallway in the handle. So I don't know, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, this place is also the first place that I have designated as a contest area. I have created this band shell looking thing to host the contest in. We'll get to that in a little bit. I really like contests. I always have. When I was younger watching the anime, I thought they were cool, and then in the games they're less cool. They don't look as pretty, but I don't know, I thought they were still an important part to have. This also had some item frames before, but this is where you would buy a lot of contest related stuff, basically. Here is the old-fashioned looking hotel where you and all of the contest contestants would be staying, and that's kind of how you learn about contests for the first time. The owner used to be in them when she was younger, and there's lots of people upstairs who will tell you everything about it. Now, if we go down here, you will be able to see the actual area that I have set up. When you get here, they're supposed to be sort of setting it up, so of course there's some boxes everywhere and things. Some people have randomly spawned in, but that happens. So here's the band shell that I made and some of the stuff that I used to construct it in this chest, so you can probably get an idea of how I decided to do it. This is Lester, the contest tester, and he helped me out a lot in working on some of the pathing and trying to figure out how this entire thing would work. As you can see, it's fireworks, so I was feeling for different types of Pokemon, if you're doing this as a role play, you could also do a lot of extra stuff, in between episodes or whatever. So if you wanted to do the whole contest to, show it off, you could switch the things inside the dispensers. I think they're dispensers for buckets of water if you want to have a water type, or green fireworks for grass types and other cool stuff like that. I don't know, I thought it was an interesting idea. Thanks, Lester. There was a weird cut there. It started raining, so I just cut it out. That's one of the judges who would always be there, etc. Now, one of the things that I have a big problem with thus far is that the contests, like, it would be nice to be able to have some Pokemon wandering around and practicing, but I have been unable to get the entire thing with the custom NPCs to work with the Pixelmon models and actually make Pixelmon that move around. I mean, it's just difficult to do. I know that Pixel Dip has done it, but I'm not quite sure. So if anyone could help me figure out how to make the things work and not be glitchy, that would be awesome. So we're in the rock town now. There would probably be like a birch village and a few other things in between the last place and here, but this is like the rock-based town, which would have a gym and everything. So that was the Pokemart, which is kind of themed after mining and stuff in the ground. There'd be a mine with professional miners here, which is right here. So in the back wall, I don't know if you saw, there were, you know, some ores, like it was carved into the wall back there. And this is the Poke Center here, which has some of the temple blocks from the mod being used, and I really, really like them. This is one of the ones where you would actually be able to stay, and I feel like this Poke Center looks really, really good. Now, it's a little bit of a treacherous climb, but up around here somewhere, there is going to be a passageway to get up to the research lab that's in this town. This is the other research lab that's in the area, and it's kind of supposed to look like it was once a mountain chalet. Oh, over there is where the gym is going to be. It's kind of like a ruined Roman style temple. I thought that was pretty cool. So this is like an old mountain chalet that they turned into a research area. And this place is going to be like the fossil place of the region. Every region pretty much has one, so I figured that this would be a good spot for it to be. There's some equipment for, you know, what people would do if they found fossils like frozen in ice. They'd chuck them in the furnace and other stuff. There's some places where the scientists live, and there's also a storage closet. I feel like it would also be good if the rival, if I go with my current plotline, came here to get their starter instead of going to your, like, pathetic small town to go to your professor to get their starter. So here's, like, one of the houses that I have right now, and a tower. This place is basically supposed to be one of the oldest places in the region. It's like ancient. There's a section over here which is going to be mostly ruins. Right now all I have is a temple to Regirock, which you can't see very well because it's dark, but it's kind of eerie that way. And I have to build the rest of it. There's going to be like a graveyard, I think a little bit of a graveyard, maybe just something underground, kind of like the ruins of Alf, I don't know. And then this is supposed to be sort of like a semi-ruined battle tower from the old days, which has been repaired a little bit. Now, this place is one of my favorite and least favorite areas that I have worked on thus far. It is so unbelievably beautiful, but it took me ages. Literally ages. Like, I spent so long trying to build this with World Edit and get it underwater. Like, partly underwater. This is where the water gym would be, and this is like the water city. And so it's like an hourglass sort of shape, with the top of the hourglass being like at the water line almost on the surface. And then here being like a circle where you can go down into the second half. It was really, really hard. I had to terraform the ground so that I could stick this in it. I like built it in the sky, and I had to put it in the water and get the water to work, which was not easy. And I think that the sea lanterns make it look really, really pretty, especially at night. Like, I just really love how it turned out. I'm so happy that it turned out well, because I was really worried that it just wouldn't come out and that everything would suck. But I'm pretty happy with it. So underneath the water, as you can see, we're starting something pretty interesting. An old sunken underwater city with a statue of Lugia in the middle, of course, for good measure. Now, the idea is that they sort of built this town in this hourglass shape to protect the ancient underwater stuff underneath. So they really like that. And they probably have like a scuba diving area. I'm going to build it at some point where you can buy stuff to go under and check it out. So that's sort of the story of why this town is built in this way. I really, really like it. And I feel like here in the water starter version of it, I would probably put, I mean, of course, there's going to be some secrets down there for everybody, but I might put something extra in there for the water-based starters. Here I am getting attacked by something. Don't worry about it. But, yeah. Anyways, that has been pretty much this town covered. It's one of my favorites, even though it was one of the worst things to build ever. But I really, really like it. And some of the glowstone that's around is just sort of marking where buildings are going to be. Most of the buildings in this town are going to be pretty small, but I feel like it's worth it for the effect. And there'll be a lot of them, so it'll still feel pretty big. Now, what I just tried to do was teleport to see if I had anything done for the flying city yet, but I don't. Thought I maybe had something, but no. It's gonna be a floating island. I'm really excited about it. This is my version of the Safari Zone. So, as you can see, this is like the ranger station, kind of. This is where you and anybody else who was journeying past here, would hang out. There's a kitchen, and I think a nice old lady who runs the place and would cook for you. Her room is up here in the tower, which is pretty nice. I like it. I would live there. And back down the ladder we go. I really liked watching the Safari Zone episodes in the anime, and it's not my favorite place to go in the games, but, it's a memorable part, and I felt like it should have it. Now, this is like a safari watch tower / fire watch tower type thing where you would go up and watch herds of animals or, look for fires on the very grassy area that's around here. And then over here is a stable with Ponyta and Rapidash in it. And if I can figure out how to get the custom NPCs to work with Pixelmon models, then I would definitely make these guys rideable somehow. There's a way you can do that, and I thought that would be really interesting, but right now they are statues because I have not figured out how to do that effectively yet. They got a little garden back here, of course, and then over here, these are styled after yurts, like some that I stayed in at summer camp the last couple years, and these would be where some scientists would be, who were doing some research on the Pokemon of the Savannah area. And here's, what they've got in their little yurts. Pretty standard, but I like them. I really like how I used the trapdoors here and stuff like that. Now, this area would be the sort of ghost type themed town. And the centerpiece of it, well, one of the centerpieces of it, there are two really, is this old creepy mansion, which would also be home to the unofficial gym. Now, you may remember those from places like the Yaz gym and the Kaz gym from that one episode of the Pokemon anime. I believe there may have been one or two more that touched on unofficial gyms, but it's something that's been explored in the anime, and I thought that was kind of interesting to do, so I decided to put the unofficial gym in this sort of map, just to sort of be an homage to it. Over here is a tower, which is also a house where some characters would be living. This town is like half built, I would say. I still have to add a few more shops and a few more houses, but you know, it's coming along. It also takes me forever to clear out the trees. Like, even with World Edit, it just takes me a while to figure out where I want them to be. So, you know. Over here is like a florist's shop, which also serves as, I guess, kind of like a food and grain store as well. So you can buy some fruits here. This is her room upstairs. I like the way that this looks a lot. Not gonna lie, it's one of my favorites. But I think that the favorite thing in this town is going to be this library, which is made of the same sort of stuff as the mansion, and it also has this black stained glass globe on top. It looks like a creepy library should, and it's going to be where you're going to get some of the lore on this area and other stuff like that. You're also going to find out that someone that you know actually lives here, or used to live here. And it's going to be an interesting little side plot, which I think is going to be fun. And of course, you have to have a cemetery near the creepy area in your Pokemon region. So mine is over here. This dead tree over here has a Murkrow spawner in it. And then I also have some other spawners around for ghost types and stuff. And as you'll notice, a few of these gravestones are larger than others, and that may or may not have a part in the story of the area. Supposedly, long ago, this place was ravaged by a fire, so you can still see some evidence of it around. Yeah, definitely. Anyway, this is one of the ones that I really like. I like the creepy feeling, I like all of the purples and stuff, so I'm really excited to finish this place, because I think that it's going to be a really fun one to go through. One of the other reasons that I added custom NPCs, besides wanting to have more options, was the specific option for quests, so I'm really hoping that I can get it to work out very well. Now, this is where the 8th gym would be. And I thought that it would be cool to sort of start with ice and end with ice. So you live in like a village in the north somewhere that no one cares about, but you're going to end, well, at least end the gym part of your journey in a place where there is like a city in the ice where everyone thinks is really cool. I think there's going to be like a bigger train to get there, that you're probably just going to press a button to teleport. But, yeah. And it's in the ice spikes, which is one of the rarer biomes, and it's pretty to look at, and I thought that that just fit really well. What's also going to be here is the Grand Festival, which is going to be in a tent sort of style thing down there, or some sort of ice arena. It's going to be pretty down in the clearing over there, but over here is just some like shops. This is for stuff for the festival. And then up here is a little hot cocoa tent, which has the colors. You know, I need to fix this NPC because she's sitting on the floor now, but you know, I'll get to that later. We have that skyscraper over there, which I showed you already. There's definitely going to be a few more of those. And then over here there's going to be the gym leader of the 8th gym's house, and then also the champion of the contest, place. Oh yeah, top coordinator. The top coordinator's house is this one, I believe. That's just the bottom floor, but her house is up on this little icy hill. And then over here is the gym leader's house, and also a like spa type thing, where the spa hot spring type of area, it's warm in there. this is like, I imagine that I'm also going to put the gym leader of the fire gym in here somewhere, like chilling out. It's a warm place. There's lava under the water, obviously, so you can just come here if you don't like the cold and you end up in this city. So this is where those people like to hang out. It's got some locker rooms and a desk and, you know, all that stuff. I'm pretty happy with it. It definitely looks like a warm area. So, you know, mission accomplished. Up here, I really like this because it's sort of built into the ice spike. This is the 8th gym leader's house. That's a little sneak peek of the 8th gym, but, you know, gonna sort of try and reveal it, like the entire thing, a little better. As you cross this bridge, you can see it. You can see it. It is supposed to sort of be like an ice cathedral type thing. I really like this build. It took me a while to build it with World Edit. I really like especially the way it looks inside, where you can see the windows, which are just regular ice. I'm pretty sure they're regular ice anyway. There's this statue of Frostlass and a little battle area down here that's just, you know, for anyone to practice on. And then if you go up the stairs, you of course can see the big window a lot better. I think I'm going up the gym leader side right now, but this is where like the actual gym battles take place, on the roof of this like ice palace, ice cathedral looking thing. I really, really like it. So this is where the 8th gym would be. And there were 1 or 2 NPCs around, but they have despawned. There's also a few things in the towers, I believe. So, you know, keep a lookout for that if this ever does really get released. So that's pretty much the end of my region tour, and I just wanted to ask you guys some questions. First one is, do you like what you've seen? Do you think that it's cool? Do you think that I should go and rebuild some of the stuff that I built when I was less experienced at building? Do you feel like it's fine and I should just keep going? Do you even think that I should keep going? Because I have been doing this for a really, really long time, and I want to finish it, but I've also had so many issues with it. So, I don't know. Do you guys think that you would want to play this map if I did finish it? Also, if anybody has any ideas for how to fix some of the problems that I have been going on about in this video, or wants to maybe make some skins to be certain characters, I think that would be awesome if you want to do that. Of course, you don't have to, but, you know, whatever you feel like. Thanks so much for watching. Leave your answers in the comments, and I'll see you guys later.